eviction notice in her hand. 5 days to find 875s or Amelia and her daughter sleep on the streets. Her car sputters dead in the daycare parking lot as rain hammers down. The clock ticks. Her daughter smiles back at her, completely unaware their world is about to collapse. How do you tell a 5-year-old they might not have a bed in the next 5 days? What would you sacrifice to keep your child from sleeping on the streets? Would you trust a stranger if it meant saving your family? Would you risk everything on a man you met under a bridge, someone who claims to have nothing, but whose eyes hide stories you can't begin to guess? Amelia's world is collapsing. No backup, no miracle is coming. Just a desperate mother, a hungry child, and a final impossible choice. Accept help from a homeless man or lose everything she's fought for. But this isn't just about survival. Because the man she's about to trust isn't who he seems. He's hiding a secret that could change her life or destroy it. He is under the city's cold lights. He reads Steinbeck, speaks with the wisdom of someone who's lost it all, and offers help when no one else will. But why her? Why now? What if the person who needs your help the most is the only one who can save you? What if a single act of kindness could flip your entire fate? Amelia's about to find out. Because the moment she lets this stranger in, everything she knows about family, fortune, and trust will be put to the test. The next 24 hours will force her to gamble with her future, her daughter's safety, and her own heart. Hello, Grandora family. Marcus here, your storyteller, ready to whisk you away to a place where hearts connect and lives transform. If you're new here, welcome. You've just stumbled upon a channel dedicated to stories that stir the soul and leave you pondering long after the credits roll. And to my loyal subscribers, thank you for being here, for believing in the power of storytelling, and for making this community so special. Before we continue, if you haven't already, take a moment to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss a new story, and you'll be supporting the channel. Also, a quick like and share would mean the world to me. The rain had stopped by morning, but the world outside Amelia's window still looked grey. She sat at the edge of her worn mattress, listening to the faint hum of traffic and the soft breathing of her daughter, Lily, asleep in the next room. The apartment was small, just one bedroom, a cramped kitchen, and a living room that doubled as a play area, and, lately, a place for sorting bills. The walls, once painted a cheerful yellow, had faded to a tired shade, marked by years of sticky fingers and the slow creep of time. Amelia moved quietly, careful not to wake Lily. She tiptoed past the pile of unopened envelopes on the kitchen table, each one a reminder of how close they were to losing everything. The final notice from the landlord sat on top, its bold letters impossible to ignore. She'd hidden it from Lily, but the weight of it pressed on her every moment. She poured the last of the milk into a chipped mug, swirling it with instant coffee. The taste was bitter, but it was all she had left. She glanced at the clock, 5:15 a.m. In less than an hour, she'd need to wake Lily, get her dressed, and start the long walk to daycare. The car, her battered Honda, sat silent in the parking lot, refusing to start after yesterday's breakdown. There was no money for repairs, not after rent, groceries, and the antibiotics Lily needed last month. Amelia's phone buzzed with a reminder. Double shift at the diner, then straight to the insurance office. She'd barely have time to breathe, let alone rest. She scrolled through her messages. No new job offers, no replies from the temp agencies, no word from her brother on the other side of the country. She didn't blame him, he had his own family to worry about. She set out Lily's clothes for the day. A faded pink dress, clean but a little too small, and a pair of sneakers with the soles starting to peel. She'd patched them twice already. Lily's backpack, decorated with stickers and a fraying zipper, held a peanut butter sandwich, an apple, and the last granola bar from the pantry. Amelia made a mental note to visit the food bank after work, even though the thought made her stomach twist. The apartment was quiet except for the soft patter of Lily's feet as she shuffled into the kitchen, clutching her stuffed rabbit. "Morning, Mummy," she said, rubbing her eyes. "Good morning, sweetheart." Amelia forced a smile, kneeling to hug her daughter. Did you sleep well? Lily nodded, her curls bouncing. Can we have pancakes? Maybe this weekend, Amelia replied, hoping she could stretch the groceries until then. Today we have a big adventure. We're walking to daycare. Lily's eyes lit up. Like explorers? Exactly, Amelia said, tying Lily's shoes and brushing her hair. She tried to ignore the ache in her chest, the fear that Lily would notice the worry in her eyes. They left the apartment, locking the door behind them. The hallway smelled faintly of bleach and old carpet. Amelia glanced at the neighbours' doors, some decorated with wreaths, others bare. She wondered if anyone else was struggling, or if she was the only one counting every dollar, every hour, every favour. Outside, the air was crisp. Amelia pulled her coat tighter around her, holding Lily's hand as they navigated puddles and cracked sidewalks. The city was waking up. Delivery trucks rumbled by, shopkeepers unlocked their doors, and the distant wail of a siren echoed through the streets. Amelia kept her head down, focusing on each step, each breath. The walk to daycare took nearly 40 minutes. Lily stopped to examine a line of ants, to wave at a stray cat, to collect a shiny pebble for her pocket. Amelia tried to match her daughter's curiosity, but her mind raced with calculations. How much money she had left, how many hours she could work before exhaustion caught up, how long before the landlord changed the locks. At the daycare, Ms. Patel greeted them with a warm smile. Lily, I saved you a spot at the art table, she said, ushering the little girl inside. Amelia lingered at the door, watching Lily settle in with her friends. For a moment, she allowed herself to hope that Lily would remember these days as happy, not as a time of struggle. She turned away before the tears could fall. The diner was already busy when Amelia arrived, tying her apron and slipping into the rhythm of coffee orders and clattering dishes. She smiled at regulars, refilled mugs, and tried to ignore the ache in her feet. Every tip counted. Every dollar mattered. She pocketed the change, thinking of rent, groceries, and the looming car repair. After her shift, she hurried to the insurance office, answering phones and filing paperwork for a boss who barely noticed her. The hours dragged, her mind drifting to Lily, to the empty fridge, to the envelope on the kitchen table. She checked the clock, counting down the minutes until she could pick up her daughter and head home. The walk back was harder. Her legs ached, her shoes pinched, and the sky threatened rain. She passed the bridge where she sometimes saw people sleeping, their belongings packed into shopping carts. She wondered how close she was to joining them. At home, Amelia reheated macaroni and cheese for dinner, reading Lily a story as they ate. She laughed at her daughter's jokes, tucked her into bed, and sat alone in the quiet apartment, staring at the eviction notice. She made a list of options: ask for more hours, sell the car, visit the food bank, borrow money she didn't have. Each option felt like a door closing. As the night deepened, Amelia stood at the window, watching the city lights flicker. She pressed her hand to the glass, searching for answers in the darkness. Tomorrow would bring another round of challenges, another day of holding it together for Lily. But as she turned away, a single thought echoed in her mind. How much longer can I keep this up? Will she find a way out, or is this the end of the road? The next day dawned with a fragile hope. Amelia had managed a few hours of restless sleep, fueled by lukewarm coffee and sheer determination. She walked Lily to daycare, her steps lighter than the day before, as if simply making it through the night was a victory. At the diner, Darlene, her manager, offered a rare smile. Heard you were having car trouble, honey. I've got a guy who might be able to help, cheap. Amelia's heart leaped. A possible solution, a glimmer of light. She scribbled down the contact information, a surge of gratitude washing over her. Maybe, just maybe, things were starting to shift. During her lunch break, Amelia decided to take a shortcut through Riverside Park. The sun was shining, casting long shadows across the grass. She needed a moment of peace, a chance to breathe before the afternoon shift at the insurance office. As she approached the footbridge spanning Willow Creek, she noticed a figure huddled beneath it. An elderly man sat on a flattened cardboard box, his belongings neatly arranged beside him. A worn backpack, 2 plastic bags, and a stack of books tied together with twine. He wasn't like the other homeless individuals she sometimes saw in the park. He was clean, his white beard neatly trimmed, his clothes faded but tidy. And he was reading. A tattered copy of The Grapes of Wrath rested in his hands, his brow furrowed in concentration. Amelia paused, drawn to his quiet dignity. There was something about the way he held the book, the way he seemed lost in its pages, that resonated with her own love of stories, her own yearning for escape. She hesitated, then stepped closer. "Excuse me," she said softly. The man looked up, his eyes a startling shade of blue. They were kind eyes, wise eyes, eyes that seemed to have seen a great deal. "Good afternoon," he replied, his voice clear and cultured, not what she expected. "I didn't mean to disturb you," Amelia said, feeling awkward. I noticed you were reading." He smiled, a network of wrinkles wrinkling around his eyes. "Ah, Steinbeck, a master of human struggle. Have you read it?" "Years ago," Amelia replied, surprised. "In high school. I remember being moved by it." "It speaks to the resilience of the human spirit," the man said, his gaze drifting back to the book. "The ability to find hope even in the darkest of times." Amelia nodded, thinking of her own struggles, her own desperate search for hope. "It's hard sometimes," she admitted, the words tumbling out before she could stop them. "To keep believing." The man looked at her, his blue eyes filled with understanding. "Life can be a heavy burden," he said gently, "but it's also filled with moments of unexpected grace." Amelia hesitated, then reached into her purse. She had a granola bar saved for her own lunch. She hadn't eaten since yesterday, but something compelled her to offer it to him. "Would you like this?" she asked. "I'm not really hungry." The man studied her face, his gaze piercing. He seemed to see right through her pretense, to recognize the sacrifice she was making. "Thank you," he said, accepting the bar with a nod. "I appreciate the kindness." "It's nothing," Amelia replied, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. "I should get going. I have to get to work." "Of course," the man said. "My name is Thomas, by the way, but most people call me Old Tom." "Amelia," she replied. "It was nice meeting you, Tom." As Amelia walked away, she couldn't shake the image of the man under the bridge. She wondered how he'd ended up there, what series of events had led him to this place. She wondered if he had family, if he had anyone to care for him. And she wondered why, with her own problems pressing down on her, she had felt compelled to offer him her only food. Was it pity, compassion, or something more? She thought of Lily, of the sacrifices she made every day to provide for her daughter. She thought of the eviction notice, the broken car, the empty fridge. She needed help, not the other way around, but as she hurried to her afternoon shift, she couldn't deny the small spark of connection she'd felt with Old Tom. A shared love of stories, a moment of understanding, a simple act of kindness. Would you help a stranger if you were struggling yourself? Let us know below. The afternoon at the insurance office felt longer than usual. Amelia's thoughts kept drifting back to Old Tom, to his quiet dignity and his love of books. She couldn't shake the feeling that their meeting had been more than just a chance encounter. As 5 o'clock approached, the sky darkened and a light rain began to fall. Amelia hurried to the daycare, her steps quickening with each drop. She pictured Lily waiting, her small face pressed against the window, and a surge of protectiveness washed over her. When she arrived, Lily ran to her, her arms outstretched. "Mommy, it's raining!" she exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. "I know, sweetheart," Amelia said, scooping her up. "Let's get home before we get soaked." As they walked, Amelia remembered the food bank at the community centre. She'd been putting it off, her pride whispering that she could manage on her own. But Lily needed to eat, and the fridge was nearly empty. She hesitated, then turned toward the community centre. "We're making a quick stop," she explained to Lily, "to get some food." The line at the food bank was long, a mix of faces reflecting the city's diversity. Amelia felt a flush of shame creep up her neck. She scanned the crowd, hoping she wouldn't see anyone she knew. As they waited, she spotted Old Tom standing near the entrance, his backpack slung over his shoulder. He saw her and smiled, his blue eyes lighting up. "Amelia," he said, approaching her. "What a pleasant surprise." "Tom," she replied, feeling a mix of relief and embarrassment. I'm here for the food bank." "As am I," he said, his voice matter-of-fact. "It seems we're both in need of a little help." Amelia nodded, her throat tight. "It's not easy," she admitted, asking for help. "Pride can be a heavy burden," Tom said, echoing her earlier thoughts. "But sometimes it's necessary to set it aside." They joined the line together, an unlikely pair, the young single mother and the elderly homeless man. Amelia felt a sense of camaraderie with Tom, a shared understanding of the struggles they faced. The volunteers at the food bank were kind and efficient, filling their bags with canned goods, pasta, and a few pieces of fresh fruit. Amelia felt a surge of gratitude, a weight lifting from her shoulders. As they left the community centre, the rain intensified. "Thank you, Tom," Amelia said, for being here." "We all need a little company sometimes," he replied, "especially when crossing lines we never thought we'd cross." Amelia hesitated, then made a decision. "Would you like to join us for dinner?" she asked. "It's just pasta, but there's plenty to share." Tom's eyes widened, a flicker of surprise crossing his face. "I wouldn't want to impose," he said. "You wouldn't be," Amelia insisted. "Honestly, it would be nice to have some company, and Lily would love to meet you." Tom smiled, his gaze softening. "In that case," he said, "I'd be delighted." They walked to Amelia's apartment, the rain soaking their clothes. Lily chatted excitedly, asking Tom about his books and his life under the bridge. Amelia listened, her heart warming at the sound of their conversation. The apartment was small, but it felt cozy and warm as they stepped inside. Lily showed Tom her drawings, her toys, her stuffed rabbit. He listened with genuine interest, asking questions and offering compliments. Amelia cooked the pasta, adding a can of tomatoes and a few spices from the pantry. The aroma filled the apartment, a comforting scent that chased away the gloom of the rainy evening. They ate together at the small kitchen table, Lily sitting between Amelia and Tom. The conversation flowed easily, filled with laughter and stories. Tom told tales of his travels, his love of literature, his days as a teacher. Lily listened, her eyes wide with wonder. Amelia watched them, a sense of peace settling over her. It had been so long since she'd had company, since she'd felt this sense of connection. Tom wasn't just a stranger. He was becoming a friend, a source of comfort and support. After dinner, as the rain continued to fall outside, Tom helped Amelia wash the dishes. Lily sat at the table, drawing pictures with crayons. The apartment felt like a home, filled with warmth and love. As the evening drew to a close, Tom stood to leave. "Thank you, Amelia," he said, his voice sincere. "For your kindness, your generosity, your company." "Thank you, Tom," Amelia replied, "for everything." She walked him to the door, the rain still falling outside. "Where will you go?" she asked, her voice filled with concern. "Back to my humble abode," he said with a smile, "under the bridge." Amelia hesitated, then made another decision. "It's supposed to rain all night," she said. "Our sofa isn't much, but it's better than the ground. You're welcome to stay." Tom's eyes widened, a mixture of surprise and gratitude crossing his face. "I couldn't possibly," he said. "Please," Amelia insisted. "After today, it would ease my mind to know you're not out in the rain." Tom looked at her, his gaze searching. He saw the sincerity in her eyes, the genuine concern in her voice. "Just for tonight," he said softly. "Thank you, Amelia." As Amelia closed the door, she felt a sense of relief wash over her. She had crossed a line, inviting a stranger into her home. But she knew, deep down, that she'd done the right thing. The rain continued to fall, drumming against the windows. Inside, the apartment was warm and quiet, filled with the soft breathing of Lily and the gentle presence of old Tom. Amelia lay in bed, listening to the rain, and for the first time in a long time, she felt a sense of hope. Morning arrived with a rare sense of calm. Amelia awoke to the smell of coffee and the faint sound of someone moving in the kitchen. For a moment, she wondered if she was dreaming, but when she stepped into the kitchen, she found old Tom at the stove, carefully flipping pancakes with a steady hand. Lily sat at the table, her eyes bright with excitement, chattering about her favourite syrup. "Good morning," Tom greeted, his voice gentle. "I hope you don't mind. I found some pancake mix in the cupboard and thought I'd make breakfast." Amelia blinked, surprised by the simple luxury. "I didn't even know we had any left." "Sometimes the best things are hidden in plain sight," Tom replied, sliding a golden pancake onto Lily's plate. They ate together, laughter filling the small apartment. For the first time in weeks, Amelia felt the heaviness in her chest begin to lift. After breakfast, Tom offered to look at her car. "I've tinkered with engines before," he said, rolling up his sleeves. In the parking lot, Tom examined the Honda with practiced eyes. He asked Amelia to turn the key. The engine sputtered, then fell silent. Tom listened, then nodded. "Alternator's gone. Not an easy fix, but not impossible either. I know a guy at the junkyard who might have a used one for cheap. If you can cover the part, I'll handle the labour." Amelia hesitated, counting the bills in her wallet. "I have $43 from tips. Will that be enough?" Tom smiled. "Let's find out." He returned later that afternoon, a battered alternator in hand. Under the fading light, he worked with quiet focus, Lily handing him tools and asking questions about every step. By dusk, the car rumbled to life, the ominous noise gone. Amelia's relief was overwhelming. "I don't know how to thank you," she said, her voice trembling. Tom wiped his hands on a rag. "You already have. You gave me a roof and a warm meal. That's more than most." As days passed, Tom became a steady presence. He walked Lily to daycare, helped with chores, and read stories in the evenings. The apartment, once filled with worry, now echoed with laughter and conversation. Tom's wisdom and patience brought a sense of stability Amelia hadn't felt in years. One evening, as they sat together after dinner, Amelia found herself sharing her story. She spoke of her parents' accident, her struggle to finish college while raising Lily alone, and the day Lily's father left without a word. She described the endless cycle of work and worry, the constant fear of not being enough. Tom listened without judgment, nodding in understanding. "You've carried a heavy load," he said softly, "but you've never let it break you." Amelia looked at him, searching his face. "What about you, Tom? How did you end up here?" He took a deep breath, his gaze distant. "I was a teacher for 30 years, English literature. I loved it, helping young people find their voice, discover new worlds. After my wife passed, I lost my footing. My daughter and I grew apart. I made some poor financial decisions, lost my home, and pride kept me from asking for help. One day, I realized I had nowhere left to go." Amelia reached across the table, squeezing his hand. "I'm glad you found us." Tom smiled, his eyes shining. "So am I." But the sense of peace was short-lived. The eviction notice still loomed, a constant reminder of how close they were to losing everything. Amelia counted her savings again and again, but the numbers never added up. She needed nearly $900 in 3 days, and even with her paycheck, she was far short. Tom noticed her worry. "What if we sell some things?" he suggested. "A yard sale. People are always looking for bargains." Amelia hesitated. "I don't have much worth selling." "Sometimes it's not about the value," Tom said. "It's about hope. Let's try." They spent the evening gathering items: old books, unused kitchen gadgets, Lily's outgrown clothes, a set of golf clubs left behind by Lily's father. Tom contributed a few things from his backpack: a chess set, a collection of classic novels, a battered but well-loved radio. The next morning, they set up tables in front of the apartment building. Lily made colourful signs, her enthusiasm infectious. Neighbours stopped by, drawn by the cheerful display and Lily's persuasive sales pitch. "My mummy says these books are magic," she declared, holding up a copy of Charlotte's Web. By noon, they'd sold more than Amelia expected. The cash jar filled slowly, each bill a small victory. But as the day wore on, it became clear they were still short. Tom sat beside Amelia thinking. "What about a bake sale?" he suggested. "People can't resist homemade treats." Amelia laughed, the idea sparking hope. "I have flour, sugar, and a little cocoa powder. We could make brownies." They spent the evening baking, the apartment filled with the scent of chocolate. Tom told stories as they worked, Lily giggling at his impressions of famous authors. By morning, they had trays of brownies and cookies ready to sell. At the local farmers market, they set up a small table. Lily's charm worked wonders, and soon people were lining up for treats. Amelia watched in amazement as the cash jar filled, the gap between what they had and what they needed shrinking with every sale. By the end of the weekend, they had enough to pay the landlord. Amelia handed over the money, her hands shaking with relief. The landlord, surprised but satisfied, gave her a receipt and a rare smile. That night, Amelia sat on the sofa, Lily asleep in her lap, Tom reading quietly nearby. The apartment felt different, lighter, safer, filled with possibility. But the journey wasn't over. The bills would keep coming, the challenges would return. Yet, for the first time in a long while, Amelia believed they could face whatever came next. Together, they had found a way through. Have you ever received help from an unexpected place? Share your experience below. The first sign that life was changing came quietly. Amelia received a call from a law firm she'd applied to months before, inviting her for an interview. She almost didn't answer, thinking it was another bill collector, but Tom encouraged her to take the chance. "You never know which door will open if you knock," he said, pressing a freshly ironed blouse into her hands. The interview was a blur of nervous smiles and hopeful answers. Tom watched Lily that day, walking her to the park, reading stories beneath the old oak tree, and teaching her how to play chess on the battered set he'd brought from the bridge. When Amelia returned, her face was flushed with hope. "I think it went well," she whispered, almost afraid to believe it. A week later, the offer letter arrived. The salary was more than she'd ever earned, and the hours meant she could spend evenings with Lily. The law firm even offered health insurance, something she hadn't had since before Lily was born. Amelia cried when she read the letter, relief and gratitude overwhelming her. With the new job came a new routine. Mornings began with Tom making breakfast, sometimes pancakes, sometimes oatmeal, always with a story or a riddle to start the day. Lily would giggle as Tom pretended to forget the punchline or mix up the ingredients, her laughter echoing through the apartment. Amelia would pack lunches, her mind lighter now that she didn't have to count every penny. After breakfast, Tom would walk Lily to daycare, holding her hand as she skipped along the sidewalk. He became a familiar face to the staff, always ready with a kind word or a gentle joke. The other children grew fond of him, and soon he was reading stories to the whole class during pickup time. Amelia's days at the law firm were busy but fulfilling. She learned quickly, her confidence growing with each new task. Her co-workers respected her, and her boss praised her attention to detail. For the first time in years, she felt valued, not just as a mother or a worker, but as a person with skills and dreams. Evenings were reserved for family. Tom would help Lily with her letters and numbers, turning homework into a game. Amelia would cook dinner, sometimes experimenting with new recipes, sometimes sticking to old favourites. They ate together at the small kitchen table, sharing stories about their day. Tom would ask Lily about her friends, her favourite games, her dreams for the future. Amelia would listen, her heart swelling with pride at her daughter's curiosity and kindness. As the months passed, small victories began to add up. The car ran smoothly, thanks to Tom's careful maintenance. The fridge was always stocked, and the rent was paid on time. Amelia started a savings account, tucking away a little each month for emergencies. She even bought Lily a new pair of shoes, the first in a long time that weren't secondhand. Lily thrived in the new environment. Her teachers noticed her growing confidence, her willingness to help others, her love of learning. She made friends easily, inviting them over for playdates where Tom would teach them how to play chess or tell stories about faraway places. The apartment, once a place of worry, became a hub of laughter and creativity. Tom flourished as well. He found purpose in his role as a surrogate grandfather, guiding Lily with patience and wisdom. He started volunteering at the local library, organising reading sessions for children and adults alike. His gentle manner and love of literature made him a favourite among the staff and patrons. He even reconnected with a few old friends, inviting them over for tea and conversation. The seasons changed, marking the passage of time. In spring, they planted flowers in window boxes, Lily's small hands digging in the soil, as Tom explained the importance of patience and care. Summer brought picnics in the park, lazy afternoons spent reading beneath the trees, and evenings chasing fireflies. Autumn arrived with crisp air and golden leaves, Lily jumping into piles while Tom pretended to lose his hat in the wind. Winter brought snow, hot chocolate, and evenings spent huddled under blankets, watching movies and telling stories. Each season brought its own challenges, but together they faced them all. When Lily caught the flu, Tom stayed up all night, reading her favourite stories and keeping her spirits high. When Amelia's car was sideswiped in the parking lot, Tom negotiated with the insurance company, ensuring she got a fair settlement. When Amelia's boss offered her a promotion, Tom celebrated with homemade cookies and a toast to new beginnings. Their routines became rituals, each day building on the last. Sunday mornings were reserved for pancakes and board games. Friday nights meant homemade pizza and movie marathons. On Lily's birthday, they threw a party in the park, inviting friends, neighbours, and even a few of Tom's library companions. The laughter and joy that filled the air were a testament to how far they'd come. Amelia often found herself reflecting on the journey. She remembered the fear and uncertainty, the nights spent staring at the ceiling, wondering how she would make it through another day. Now, those memories felt distant, replaced by hope and gratitude. She knew there would still be hard days, but she also knew she wasn't alone. One evening, as they sat on the balcony watching the sunset, Lily curled up in Tom's lap, her eyes heavy with sleep. Amelia looked at them, her heart full. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Tom smiled, his eyes gentle. Family isn't always about where you start. Sometimes it's about who you find along the way. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Amelia felt a sense of peace she hadn't known in years. The future was still uncertain, but for the first time, it felt bright. Their story was no longer one of struggle, but of resilience, love, and the quiet power of hope. The first hint that something unusual was about to happen came on a quiet Thursday evening. Amelia was preparing dinner, the aroma of roasted vegetables filling the apartment. Tom was helping Lily with her reading, his voice patient as she sounded out each word. The scene was peaceful, a snapshot of the life they'd built together. A knock at the door broke the calm. Amelia wiped her hands on a towel and opened it, expecting a neighbour or perhaps a delivery. Instead, a man in a tailored suit stood in the hallway, holding a leather briefcase. His expression was polite but serious. "Good evening. Are you Amelia Foster?" he asked, offering a business card. She nodded, her guard up. "Yes, can I help you?" "My name is Robert Winters. I'm a private investigator. I'm looking for someone, and I believe you might be able to assist me." Amelia's heart skipped. "I'm not sure I can." "I'm searching for Thomas Edward Harrington," he continued, his tone gentle but insistent. "It's a family matter." Behind her, Tom's voice faltered. She turned to see him standing in the doorway, his face pale, eyes wide with recognition. The name hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Robert's gaze shifted to Tom. "Mr. Harrington?" Tom straightened, his usual calm replaced by a mix of shock and apprehension. "I haven't used that name in a long time," he said quietly. Robert stepped inside, lowering his voice. "I've been hired by your grandson, Alexander Harrington. He's been searching for you for months." Amelia's mind raced. Grandson? She looked at Tom, searching for answers. Tom's hands trembled as he gestured for Robert to sit. Lily, sensing the tension, retreated to her room with her stuffed rabbit. Robert opened his briefcase and produced a photograph. "This is Alexander. He's the CEO of Harrington Enterprises. He's been trying to find you since his father passed away last year." Tom stared at the photo, his eyes filling with emotion. "I didn't know I had a grandson," he whispered. Robert nodded. "Your daughter, Catherine, had a son. She passed away 6 years ago. Alexander is her only child." The room fell silent. Amelia watched as Tom absorbed the news, his shoulders sagging under the weight of lost years. Regret flickered across his face, mingled with hope and disbelief. Robert continued, "Alexander is eager to meet you. He's asked me to deliver this letter." He handed Tom an envelope, the handwriting neat and unfamiliar. Tom held the letter as if it might vanish. "Why now?" he asked, his voice barely audible. "After his father's death, Alexander learned the truth about your estrangement. He wants to reconnect, to understand his family's history. He's also aware of your circumstances and wants to help." Amelia felt a surge of protectiveness. "What kind of help?" Robert smiled gently. "He's offering a home, financial support, and a chance to be part of his life. But only if you're willing." Tom sat in silence, the letter unopened in his lap. The room felt smaller, the air thick with unspoken questions. After Robert left, Amelia sat beside Tom, her hand resting on his. "Are you all right?" Tom shook his head, tears slipping down his cheeks. "I thought I'd lost everything. My wife, my daughter, my home. I never imagined there was someone out there looking for me." Amelia squeezed his hand. "You have a family here too." He nodded, his voice trembling. "You saved me, Amelia. You and Lily gave me a reason to keep going. I don't know if I deserve another chance." She looked at him, her eyes kind. "Everyone deserves a second chance." Tom opened the letter, his hands shaking. Alexander's words were filled with longing and hope. He spoke of his mother's stories, her regrets about the family rift, and his own desire to know the grandfather he'd never met. He invited Tom to meet him, to share memories, to build something new. The days that followed were a whirlwind of emotion. Tom was quiet, lost in thought. He spent hours walking in the park, sometimes with Lily, sometimes alone. Amelia watched him, her heart aching for the pain and uncertainty he carried. One evening, Tom sat at the kitchen table, the letter spread before him. "I don't know what to do," he admitted. "Part of me wants to see him, to know my grandson, but I'm afraid, what if he's disappointed? What if I'm not the man he expects?" Amelia poured him a cup of tea, her voice steady. "He's reaching out because he wants to know you. Not the man you were, but the man you are now." Tom looked at her, gratitude shining in his eyes. "You always know what to say." A week later, another letter arrived. This time, it was from Alexander himself. He wrote about his life, his work, and his hope that Tom would accept his invitation. He included a phone number, urging Tom to call when he was ready. Tom read the letter aloud to Amelia and Lily. When he finished, the room was silent. Lily climbed into his lap, wrapping her arms around his neck. "You should meet him," she said simply. "He sounds nice." Tom laughed through his tears, hugging her close. "Maybe you're right, little one." The decision weighed heavily on Tom. He spoke with Amelia late into the night, sharing memories of his daughter, his regrets, and his fears. He worried about leaving the life he'd built with Amelia and Lily, about starting over at his age. Amelia listened, offering support without pressure. "Whatever you decide, we'll stand by you," she promised. The next day, Tom dialed the number Alexander had provided. His hands shook as he waited for the call to connect. "Hello?" a young man's voice answered. "Alexander, this is Tom, your grandfather." There was a pause, then a rush of emotion. "Grandpa, I can't believe it's really you. Thank you for calling." They spoke for nearly an hour, sharing stories, laughter, and tears. Alexander told Tom about his childhood, his mother's love for literature, and his own journey to find his grandfather. He invited Tom to meet him for lunch at a quiet restaurant, promising no pressure, just a chance to talk. Tom agreed, his voice steady. "I'd like that." The day of the meeting arrived. Amelia helped Tom choose his best clothes, pressing his shirt and tying his tie. Lily made him a drawing to give to Alexander, a picture of their family smiling together. At the restaurant, Alexander greeted Tom with open arms. The resemblance was striking. Same blue eyes, same gentle smile. They talked for hours, sharing memories and dreams. Alexander listened as Tom spoke of his mistakes, his regrets, and his gratitude for the second chance he'd been given. Alexander offered Tom a place to live, a guest house on his property, close enough to visit but private enough for independence. He also offered Amelia a job in his company's marketing department, recognizing her talent and determination. Tom hesitated. "I can't leave Amelia and Lily. They're my family too." Alexander smiled. "They're welcome, always. Family is who you choose." Tom returned home, his mind racing. He shared the news with Amelia and Lily, his voice filled with hope and uncertainty. Amelia hugged him. "Whatever you decide, we'll support you." That night, Tom sat on the balcony, watching the stars. He thought of the years he'd lost, the pain he'd carried, and the love he'd found in the most unexpected place. He realized that life had given him a rare gift, a chance to heal, to reconnect, to build something new. The decision was his. Would he step into the unknown, risking disappointment for the possibility of belonging? Or would he stay in the life he'd built, safe but incomplete? As dawn broke, Tom made his choice. He would meet his grandson, embrace the future, and bring his chosen family with him. The past could not be changed, but the future was his, to shape. The day of the reunion arrived with a nervous energy that filled the apartment. Tom stood in front of the mirror, adjusting his tie for the third time, his hands unsteady. Amelia watched him from the doorway, offering a reassuring smile. "You look great," she said, smoothing the collar of his shirt. Lily, dressed in her favorite blue dress, clutched a drawing she'd made for Alexander, a picture of 3 people holding hands beneath a bright sun. They took a taxi to the restaurant Alexander had chosen, a quiet place with soft lighting and polished wood tables. The host greeted them by name and led them to a private room at the back. Tom's heart pounded as he stepped inside, his eyes searching for the grandson he'd never met. Alexander stood as they entered, tall and composed, his features unmistakably familiar. The same blue eyes, the same gentle smile. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Alexander crossed the room and embraced Tom, holding him tightly. "I've waited so long for this," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. Tom returned the embrace, his own eyes shining. "I never thought I'd get this chance." They sat together, the air charged with anticipation. Amelia and Lily joined them, and Alexander greeted them warmly, thanking them for taking care of his grandfather. The conversation began hesitantly, each word carefully chosen. Alexander asked about Tom's life, his memories of Catherine, and the years they'd lost. Tom answered honestly, sharing stories of his teaching days, his love for literature, and the mistakes that had led him away from his family. There were moments of silence, heavy with regret, but also laughter as they discovered shared quirks and interests. Alexander spoke of his mother's fondness for poetry, her stubbornness, and her kindness. Tom listened, tears slipping down his cheeks as he learned about the daughter he'd missed for so many years. Lily broke the tension by presenting her drawing. "This is us," she explained, pointing to each figure. "That's you, Grandpa Tom. That's Mommy. And that's me." Alexander smiled, accepting the picture with gratitude. "It's beautiful, Lily. Thank you." As the meal progressed, the initial awkwardness faded, replaced by a growing sense of connection. Alexander shared stories of his childhood, his journey to becoming CEO, and the challenges he'd faced after his parents' passing. He spoke of his search for Tom, the hope that he might find a piece of his family's history. Tom listened, his heart swelling with pride and sorrow. "I wish I could have been there for you," he said quietly. "You're here now," Alexander replied. "That's what matters." After dessert, Alexander turned to Amelia. "I've heard about your work at the law firm. We have an opening in our marketing department. I'd like you to consider applying. Your resilience and creativity are exactly what we need." Amelia was taken aback. "That's very generous, but I don't want any special treatment. Alexander shook his head. It's not charity, it's recognizing talent. You've built a life for yourself and your daughter under difficult circumstances. That's the kind of strength I admire. Tom looked at Amelia, his eyes filled with gratitude. You changed my life. I wouldn't be here without you. Alexander continued. I also want to offer you all a place to live. There's a guest house on my property, 3 bedrooms, a garden, plenty of space for Lily to play. It's yours if you want it, no strings attached. Amelia glanced at Tom, uncertainty flickering across her face. We've built a home here. It's not much, but it's ours. Tom reached for her hand. Home isn't just a place, it's the people you share it with. Alexander nodded. Family is more than blood. It's the bonds we choose, the people who stand by us when it matters most. The offer hung in the air, heavy with possibility. Tom's loyalty to Amelia and Lily was clear. He wouldn't accept a new life if it meant leaving them behind. Alexander understood, his respect for Tom growing with each passing moment. They spent the afternoon talking, sharing dreams for the future. Alexander promised to support Tom's work at the library, to help expand the reading program for those in need. He offered to sponsor Lily's education, ensuring she'd have every opportunity to succeed. As the sun set, casting a golden glow through the windows, Tom realized that his definition of family had changed. It wasn't just about shared history or bloodlines. It was about love, trust, and the willingness to start again. On the ride home, Lily fell asleep in Tom's arms, her head resting on his shoulder. Amelia watched them, her heart full. She knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but for the first time, she felt hopeful. That night, as they sat together in the quiet apartment, Tom spoke softly. I never expected any of this. I thought my story was over, but you and Lily gave me a new beginning. Alexander's offer is generous, but I won't go unless we go together. Amelia smiled, tears in her eyes. We're a team. Wherever we go together. Tom nodded, his voice steady. Family isn't just about where you come from. It's about who you choose to stand beside. The decision was made. They would accept Alexander's offer not as charity, but as a chance to build something new. Together, they would create a home filled with laughter, learning, and love. What does family mean to you? Is it blood or something more? Share your thoughts below. The move to the guest house felt like stepping into a new chapter. The cottage sat at the edge of Alexander's property, surrounded by tall trees and a garden bursting with colour. Sunlight streamed through wide windows, warming the wooden floors and filling each room with a gentle glow. For the first time in years, Amelia unpacked boxes with a sense of hope, not dread. Lily raced from room to room, her laughter echoing down the hallway. She claimed the bedroom with the window facing the garden, already imagining fairy houses among the flowers. Tom chose the room closest to the porch, where he could watch the sunrise and listen to birds in the morning. Amelia set up her workspace in a cozy corner, her new laptop open and ready for the challenges ahead. Their routines shifted quickly. Mornings began with breakfast on the porch, the table set with fresh fruit and warm bread. Tom brewed coffee while Lily recited the day's plans, her voice bright with excitement. Amelia reviewed her schedule, grateful for the flexibility her new position offered. The commute was short and the work was meaningful. She found herself energized by creative projects and inspired by colleagues who valued her ideas. Tom flourished in his new role at the library. With Alexander's support, he launched a reading program for children and adults, focusing on those who had fallen through the cracks. He spent afternoons surrounded by eager listeners, his voice bringing stories to life. The library became a gathering place, filled with conversation and discovery. Tom's sense of purpose deepened, and his circle of friends grew. Lily thrived in her new environment. She made friends easily, inviting them over to play in the garden or join Tom's story hours at the library. She learned to ride a bike along the winding paths, her shouts of joy carrying on the breeze. Evenings were spent chasing fireflies, collecting wildflowers, and sharing secrets on the porch swing. Amelia watched her daughter's confidence blossom. her worries replaced by curiosity and delight. Amelia's career blossomed as well. She took on new responsibilities, leading campaigns and mentoring junior staff. Her ideas were met with enthusiasm, and her efforts were recognized with praise and promotions. She balanced work and family with a sense of accomplishment, no longer weighed down by fear. The security of a steady income and a supportive workplace allowed her to dream bigger, to plan for the future. The guest house itself became a symbol of their new life. The garden flourished under Tom's care, rows of vegetables and herbs thriving in the rich soil. Lily planted sunflowers along the fence, their golden faces turning toward the sky. Amelia added a small table beneath the shade of an old oak where she could write or read while Lily played nearby. The porch swing became their favorite spot. In the evenings, they gathered there to watch the sunset, the sky painted in shades of orange and pink. Tom would tell stories, his voice weaving together memories and lessons. Lily would curl up beside him, her head resting on his shoulder, while Amelia listened, her heart full. Laughter filled the house, spilling out into the garden and drifting through open windows. Friends and neighbours visited often, drawn by the warmth and welcome that radiated from the family. Potlucks, game nights, and impromptu celebrations became part of their routine. The sense of community grew, each person adding to the tapestry of their lives. Peace settled over their days. The anxiety that once haunted Amelia faded, replaced by gratitude and contentment. She found joy in small moments, the scent of fresh bread, the sound of Lily's laughter, the sight of Tom reading to a group of children beneath the trees. The struggles of the past had not disappeared, but they no longer defined her. Tom's health improved, his steps lighter and his smile more frequent. He found fulfillment in helping others, in sharing his love of books and learning. The library program expanded, reaching more people and inspiring new partnerships. Tom's reputation as a mentor and friend grew, and he was often invited to speak at schools and community events. Lily's world expanded, her days filled with adventure and discovery. She excelled in school, her teachers praising her kindness and curiosity. She brought home stories of new friends, new games, and new dreams. Amelia watched her daughter grow, proud of the resilient, joyful child she was becoming. As the seasons changed, the family marked each milestone with gratitude. Spring brought new blooms and fresh starts. Summer was filled with laughter and long days in the sun. Autumn arrived with crisp air and golden leaves, and winter brought cozy nights by the fire, sharing stories and planning for the year ahead. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Amelia sat on the porch swing with Tom and Lily. The garden glowed in the fading light, and the air was filled with the scent of jasmine. Tom looked at Amelia, his eyes gentle. "We've come a long way," he said softly. Amelia nodded, her heart at peace. "We have, and I wouldn't change a thing." Lily squeezed their hands, her smile bright. "We're together. That's all that matters." As darkness settled, the family sat in quiet contentment, the porch swing swaying gently. Their journey had been long and uncertain, but here, in this moment, they found everything they needed: love, laughter, and the promise of tomorrow. 3 years had passed since Tom moved into the guest house, and the garden was now a riot of colour, a testament to the life they'd cultivated. Today, it was decorated for a celebration. Chairs lined the lawn, facing a small arch adorned with flowers. Friends, neighbours, and colleagues gathered, their faces beaming with anticipation. Amelia stood at the window, watching Lily, now a confident 7-year-old, scatter petals along the aisle. Tom stood beside her, his eyes shining with emotion. Today was the day they would make their family official. The adoption ceremony was simple but heartfelt. Tom legally became Lily's grandfather and Amelia's father, solidifying the bonds they'd forged through kindness and shared experience. Tears flowed freely as they exchanged vows, promising to support, cherish, and protect one another. The celebration that followed was filled with laughter, music, and heartfelt toasts. Alexander raised his glass, praising Tom's wisdom and Amelia's strength. He spoke of the unexpected gift of finding a family he never knew he had, a family built on love, not blood. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the garden, Amelia sat beside Tom on the porch swing, watching Lily chase butterflies among the flowers. "We did it," she whispered, her voice filled with gratitude. Tom smiled, his eyes gentle. "We did, and it's just the beginning." Their journey had been long and difficult, filled with challenges and uncertainties. But through it all, they had learned the power of kindness, the importance of resilience, and the enduring strength of chosen family. Their story was a reminder that hope can be found in the most unexpected places, that love can bloom even in the darkest of times, and that family is not defined by blood, but by the bonds we create. If this story touched you, like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring tales.